Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. I've got Gabby with me here for a very special discussion. Gabby, how you feeling?
It's a it's a special yapper session.
Yeah, oh, we're yapping. But this is only going to be on YouTube. So you lucky people get to look at our pretty faces for the next what I expect to be maybe 15ish minutes, maybe 15, 20ish minutes, if that. So as you know, Arsenal currently are sporting director list. Uh, Gabby, first of all,
Yeah.
do you think it's weird that football fans in 2024 are this forensic and this involved in this? Like, because in my day,
I
no one gave a fuck.
mean, is it any weirder than like tracking someone's like plane? Like, I don't know. That's
We did invent that
I'd
as
prefer
well.
you do that. I'd prefer you do this than that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But yeah, Eduardo Gaspar, left Arsenal for Olympiacos. But not Olympiacos, sorry, Olympiacos, Nottingham Forest, and was it Rio Ave, I believe?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but
No more grilling at
primarily,
the carpet.
yeah, primarily Nottingham Forest. Um, I'll be honest with you. It kind of shocked me. Um, do you remember how you felt when the news broke? Because it shocked me because I was like, I think we still hadn't won in like 3 or 4 games, and it just felt like the timing was off. What did you make of that?
The timing was definitely off. It was
Yeah.
definitely off. I don't know if I'm necessarily shocked about it. I'm more shocked that he left rather than we like let him go, I should
Mhm.
say. Because I feel like actually maybe I should take that back because I feel like Edu has like high aspirations. Even the way
Yeah.
that he talks, he seems like he has like big dreams about what he wants to do, and I think that well, what my theory is that when they didn't give him that CEO position, because that's still open, by the way,
Mhm.
but they didn't give him that CEO position, I think he was like, yeah, I think it's time to like go seek greener pastures.
So you don't think it has anything to do with the fact that they probably offered him the whole island of Mykonos, anything like that? Because
Listen, whatever the bag was, it was more than what we're giving him. So I said, fair.
yeah, because think of it, it's not like he went on like he was still what do they call it? Is it gardening leave? Well, he's still working here basically, but we're working to find a replacement. He was gone.
Yeah,
He,
he
he
said
was
it's
gone.
time to peace out.
So it lets me know that they must have offered him a serious bag, but that's neither here nor there. Because we have to remember Edu is Arsenal's first ever sporting director. We've never had one before, thanks to Arsene Wenger. Depending on what side of the fence you sit on. But yeah, I've never really cared for one per se because I just feel like a lot of the good work is done obviously in recruitment, but you do it on the pitch as well. But obviously in 2024, you need that sort of structure around you. There's no more one man armies these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Arsene
Arsenal more
Wenger,
than anyone needs that like
yeah,
checks and balances.
yeah, exactly. So it's like Arsene Wenger doing all of the up and downs of the club kind of thing. Those days are never coming back as much as I miss them. But yeah, like Edu. So a little bit of history lesson just on him, and I feel like it kind of feeds into how Arsenal end up being how we are with him in the sporting director seat. So Edu came to Arsenal as a squad player, and he pretty much left as a squad player. But there was a very weird period in between it where he was a key cog of our first 11. Um, and the best comparison I can probably use for him, let's just say in today's squad, maybe not well, actually, yeah, probably Trossard. Now, not in terms of style of play at all, because Eddie was a deep line playmaker with a wonderful left foot. But just in the fact that we know he's a squad player, but we know he can play in the first team. We know that he gets rhythm and he's good for us, kind of thing. He can do a job for us, and he saved us like a lot of times. Um, but then when everyone's fit, we knew straight away Gilberto Vieira. That's the centre midfield pairing kind of thing. And I feel like that really fed into how he viewed Arsenal when he came in, because he was like his period at Arsenal was only success. He himself struggled a little bit at the beginning where we had a losing run with him every time he played, kind of thing. But he's looking around seeing France internationals, other Brazil internationals, all these big stars kind of thing that have won shit, kind of thing. And he's among them. He's among that squad. So, Gabby, just my question to you before I carry on, like, what do you think that kind of does to you as a player, and especially for your experiences when you've come into a team and you're nowhere near being the main man, but you're rubbing shoulders with winners that are winning stuff with this club.
I think it sets in the mentality that like every cog in the machine isn't important. Like it's
Mhm.
not just one thing. Like we all know the Mbappes, the Messis, the
Yeah,
Ronaldos of the world are going to get all the accolades because of what they do, and they should. Specifically the Thierry Henrys for us,
yeah,
but like everyone else was important too. I mean,
hmm
Bobby Perez doesn't get as much praise as Thierry Henry, but that doesn't mean he wasn't as important.
yeah. There was maybe a season where he was just as important, you know. So no, you're absolutely spot on, and I feel like you look at that. By the time he had left Arsenal, to my understanding anyway, he left Arsenal on his terms. Like, I wanted him to stay badly, but he ended up going to Valencia. He was still, I think he left when he was like 29 or 30. He was still had lots of football in him, kind of thing. But he was never going to be like the first 11 player, especially by the time he left, Fabregas was already into the team as well. So I think, coming into his time at Arsenal, something that really stuck with me and it really pisses me off because it's one of the worst signings we've ever made, right? He was speaking about the Willian signing. Again, this is best remember he's come back to Arsenal. He's Arsenal's first ever sporting director. It's his first role in such a big and prestigious club. So he's still learning. And he mentioned the fact that we were looking at players. We had to look at players with power, with power in their legs. And he tapped his fires, thinking, Willian,
Don't listen to
5
what he's
years
saying.
ago.
Him
No,
and
seriously,
Arteta are liars.
William 5 years ago that might apply, but that's not
You
William.
just wanted a Brazilian in here.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it was just like, okay, I'm not too sure. But then also Arteta did want him as well. And I feel like the relationship was good because they're both in uncharted territories for the first time. So their relationship kind of was, we were learning off each other. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think they both were.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like when you observe that, Gabby, do you think it would be fair to assume that now Arteta's more experienced, we now get someone else in that is equally as experienced, if not more experienced?
I would hope so. I mean, Arteta's been in the job, what, 5 years now?
Yeah.
Um, and Edu came in 2019 at the same time, around the same time,
Mhm.
so about 5 years the same. And I just think that now that we're past the growing stage, the like trying to get back to where we need to be, we just need
Mhm.
to like get to the like we win stuff phase now. Like we need
Yeah.
to, and that's a hard thing to do. Obviously, it's a hard thing to do.
Exactly.
But I think that you need somebody with more experience now. I think he cleared out when Edu first got here, he did an interview and he was like, "This is not the Arsenal that I know." Like the
Exactly.
people, the players that he was like watching on the pitch and like um how they not even just like attributes of those players, but like how they act off the pitch. He was like, "This
Mhm.
ain't. I don't know what this is, but it's not my
Yeah.
Arsenal." So
Yeah.
he had to clear out a lot. Him and Arteta had to do a lot of work, and I think they did all that work already now.
Mhm.
And now we just need to top it off with the cake, with the icing. Like you just need to win stuff now, win the big trophies now.
So I just want to go back to that point about him clearing out players, because a criticism that has been leveled at him has been the fact that we had a lot of players on bad contracts and we just kind of paid them off and got them off, kind of thing. We didn't get a penny for it. We didn't get a penny for this player and that player. But I think it's really unfair. But I'm just curious to know what you think about it, because, for example, you look at someone like Aubameyang, big 300k a week or whatever it was, and who's paying that for a 32-year-old who can't play with his back to goal? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's genuinely really
Very few clubs do
very few,
that.
very few. So our hands are tied in that regard. But it's leveled as criticism at him. Like, what do you actually think about that?
I I understand the criticism. I have some criticism of it myself because I
Mm,
didn't like the way that we were either selling or trying to get players out. We were like terminating a lot of contracts.
yeah.
I thought our problem wasn't just selling and how much we were selling for, because I think, unfortunately, I hate to say this,
Mm,
but I think that a lot of selling has to do with, I know there's a myth on Twitter that says like selling has to do with how fans view their own players. And if you shit on
mhm,
your own player on Twitter, then like they're going to sell for less, but that's not necessarily
mhm.
true. Um, it's more about when to sell.
Yeah.
I don't think Arsenal have been good at the timing of selling players for a long
Mhm.
time. I think we always hold players for too long. And that's the problem. And I think that once you clear out once Edu had cleared out all those players and gotten them off those big contracts, and we started getting like higher in our standings, like on the table and stuff like that, and you start attracting bigger talents, then you can be like, okay, you might not be the best, you might not be, where you want to be or what have all the minutes that you want to play or whatever, but like we were talking about cogs in the machine. Arteta, we all know Arteta can convince anyone of anything. So like once you get that player locked in, then you can give them the smaller salary and say, if you help us get to like whatever your goal is, let's get back into Champions League. Let's just say that. If you help us get back into Champions League, then we'll like re-up on the contract. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. But you have to be able to play or work for something. Once you give the player that like huge, I mean, we've seen it with Ozil and with Aubameyang, those huge contracts. It's
to be fair, in those two contracts, especially the Ozil one, that was before Arteta. I think it was because he was he signed a contract while Wenger was was it while Wenger was still there?
I think it was
Emery.
It was. I want to say it was Emery was here.
It was
I honestly don't remember that Emery like time. I can't lie; it's blacked out of my
it was
memory.
a fever dream. It didn't happen. But the Aubameyang one was under Arteta and Edu, if I remember correctly. It was. Remember we had the whole like big what do you call it? Announcement for it, and he was like, "Yo, I want to be a legend here." Blah blah blah. But I suppose moving on, let's actually just talk about his overall, how you'd rate his overall time here, and what was like his biggest successes and his, I suppose, biggest blunders. I think we spoke about his biggest blunder already. Nothing gets worse than Willian, but yeah. Let's I suppose, in your opinion, what was his biggest blunder before we get onto the happy shit?
Biggest blunder. That's a hard one actually. Because I feel like the biggest blunders are some of the people who we still have in the team right now. Like, this is going to be a hot take a little bit, but it's not meant to be. Like, one of the biggest blunders for me was probably like Kai Havertz for 65 million. Just because I think that you can get what Kai gives you from another player for cheaper. If you like went unscouted. And I granted, like we said, Edu and Arteta were like fairly new to this job, and they work together really closely. So I'm assuming what Arteta said is that that's what he wanted, really, and like that's what I do. Like that's what you have to go get. But I feel like once you, I don't know, spending 65 million. I before he got here, and I loved him. I did not want him. I did not want him when we were quoted with who was it? Mason Mount. When we were quoted with Mason Mount, and I was like, I don't want either of these guys. But if you're gonna give me one of them, I'd rather take Mason Mount. Like I'd rather take Mason Mount. I was like, we're gonna keep overpaying. This thing that we do is that we keep overpaying Chelsea for players, and I wish we would stop. But yeah, it would probably be him. But on the inverse, even though you didn't ask me, I will say I think his best signing is Gabriel. Gabriel or Odegaard does his best.
Yeah, I suppose I understand the sentiment with Havertz, but given what he was prior to Chelsea, I honestly think 65 million was probably a fair amount, because not only is he a better player now than he was at Chelsea, he seems to have rekindled a lot of what made him exciting at Leverkusen initially. Now, obviously, you want more goals from him, so I suppose I'm not disagreeing with you. I understand what you mean, but you have to remember as well, he's a tactical cheat code, because he does so many jobs in that full 90 minutes of play. He does so many jobs, kind of thing, and we all know he's probably best being at the tip of our attack, kind of thing. But he solves so many problems for us as well. So yeah, it's a hard one. I understand it. I wish we didn't pay 65 million, but I understand it as well. My personal, I'll probably say one of the worst things Edu done, should I say, was probably the whole sort of, the contract situations, with players that we weren't sure if we were going to stay or going to go, kind of thing, when we initially started, kind of thing. Like, we probably lost out on some transfer fees because certain players were, we
We
were
definitely
sure.
did.
Yeah, we were sure we were selling, then we were sure we were keeping, and it was just like, oh well, what do we do with this kind of thing? Like, I want to say, I wish we got more for. I wish we got more for ESR, but I can't really. I can't personally can't criticize that. I just think we probably could have. We probably had we, like you said, had we sold him maybe earlier. Even though I wouldn't want to sell him earlier, we probably would have got more for him, because you have to remember, teams are not stupid. They're looking at it from a perspective of Arsenal not using this guy. What value of it is he to us, kind of thing. Like, the squad planning could have been a thing where we love ESR, he's playing well for his starting games for us, kind of thing, but we've got someone else better in mind that we're going to replace him with. Let's sell him
I
while the
agree
stock's high, kind of thing.
100%.
And it's just one of those things. But I can't criticize him too much in terms of his biggest feats. I'm gonna be controversial and say I don't really attribute it to any signing. It's actually the renewal of contracts. Like,
Ooh, that's a good one.
I
Yeah.
think we've really done flipping well with the way we renewed Saka, the way we renewed Saliba, the way we renewed Gabriel. The way we renewed Odegaard was 2 years ago, wasn't he? Was he 2 years ago or a year ago?
Is that 2 years ago already?
It was
My
I think it was
God.
2 years ago. But again, like, we wasn't waiting. Like, for them to think. But it's like, we're locking them down now, kind of thing. And next summer, Saka has 2 years left in his contract. But you have to remember, like, between now and next summer is a long time. We could easily start negotiations now. We've given
Yeah.
ourselves that, same thing with Saliba as well. At least we've given time on these players, kind of thing. So
He's definitely been starting early than we used to.
yeah, and I think, you look at the way transfers are now. Like, Mbappe not going for actual transfer fees is a travesty. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's absolutely mental.
That's the biggest fleece I've ever seen in my life.
And I just think, like, genuinely, we're very lucky to be in a position where if anybody comes with one of our players, we're seeing, like, I don't know, 9 figures for these guys. Like, we're absolutely seeing, like, 9 figures for you. Like, anybody that comes in for Saka now, they're paying 120 minimum, and that's on the cheap side to me. But we're just lucky that we can sell assets that are tied down to long-term contracts, rather than, oh shit, we're looking at a year left. Oh, now we've still at a cut price, and we're panicking, we're scrambling, and whatever else,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So that'll be I feel like he's changed the culture there, because Arsene Wenger did like to let players run down to their final year because he wants them to
Which is
focus on their
very annoying and
football.
stressful as a fan to
Yeah,
watch.
like, he wants them to focus on their football and blah blah blah, and then they earn it, blah blah blah, and then before you know it, players are going for 25 million when if you're going for 60, 70 million. So yeah, but onto Pastures New. You certainly care about this shit way more than me, guys. She's compiled a list.
I have compiled the list.
I love football. I genuinely love football. I just love what I see on the pitch, not what the guys are doing in the boardroom. But Gabby's very meticulous with this. So I suppose I'll let you wrap, and I'll let you reel off the names that you've looked at, and you just give me the attributes and, I suppose, the players that they've signed and shit like that, because I'm curious to know.
I just find squad building really interesting. I've never played football like manager though, which is funnily enough. I've never played that, but I like.
I've wasted so much of my life playing that game, and my whole thing was, let me just tap up this player, get this player, because I know he's gonna.
See, I do that on FIFA though. Like, there's just specific players that I always get on FIFA, and it's just like, yeah, that felt good. Like,
And that's the thing, and the thing is, it's fun to tap them up and then put them into your system and watch them, like, score shit tons of goals for you and shit like that. But I'm not trying to see that in my actual real life football, man. But yeah, no, genuinely speaking, like, it's a really good, from my understanding and from what I know of these guys, it's a really good list, and they're all more than, I think, viable and capable, like, candidates for Arsenal. But yeah, give me your top three, and then we can round off the list after that as well.
top three. There's only 4 on the list. Top 3. Yeah, I'll give you the guys, the candidates. So I'll say this Simon Robles, I think that's how you say his name. Guy is from Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Then we have Luis Campos, who's that's actually been ramping up a lot. We've heard a lot in, like, on Twitter about us reaching out to him and things like that from Monaco and PSG. You have Roberto Olubi from Real Sociedad, who I like a lot, and then my personal favorite, Giovanni Sartori. And that just sounds like a mob name. It just sounds really nice.
I really like it. I'm a huge Sopranos
Giovanni
fan, if you guys
Sartori.
didn't know. So yeah, he's my choice straight away. So
Yeah, he's a Don. He's a Don. That guy from Bologna. Yeah, I like that guy. I like that guy. All four of them all sound good. Once you like look up their CVs and stuff like that. But I look for specific things in a sporting director, or at least I'm looking for a specific thing in our new sporting director.
Yeah.
So what like? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Let me know.
So what I was looking for, I'm looking for like maybe like 4 or 5 things. I'm looking for you to be more experienced, or just as experienced or more experienced than I do. You can't be new on the job now. Like we're in a place that we don't need new, fresh like people. We need people who know what they're doing. And then I want some reliable recruitment, some talent. I need you to have a like reliable CV, some talent ID where I can look at this is the players I brought in for these clubs and they played well, or they were did well in the system, not just for one coach, for in multiple ways. And then I want to like have a built-in, probably my most important thing for our next like sporting director. I want to have a built-in relationship with other clubs. Other football clubs, not in the Prem. That's a caveat, not in the Prem. I want us to stop buying from the Prem. It's always overpriced. Like, I need us to start looking at.
Isak's the only one in the Prem that I want. Everyone else, I agree.
You say so.
Isak is the only one.
I want us to start having like relationships with other clubs, not just to like buy, because that's the easy thing to do, I feel like. But I feel like once you have a relationship with a club, it's a lot easier to sell, and it's also a lot easier to loan. You should be able to talk to these other sporting directors or these other clubs and say, "Hey, we have a player that we can't really develop right now. Can you take them?" That's what I want to see. Because I do think we have a few players on our bench that could do that. I'm looking at Fabio, who's gone right now. And then the other 2 things were like, timing on buying and selling. Timing. I think that our timing is always off for Arsenal. For some reason, we can never get our timing right. We might get the player that we want eventually, but it feels like 2 years too late or something like that. And then we always seem to hold on to our players. I'm looking at specifically like Eddie Nketiah. Because like we sold him a little bit too late. I think we sold Ramsdale too late because I think Arteta knew that he didn't want him. And especially, then
last season, actually,
exactly, especially from last season. Like I think he knew and he should have sold him. But and then you have like the smaller things like the use of the academy. I think you should be able. There's some people that I said in my list already who have a reliable CV on their clubs reliably using their academies. Like Real Sociedad is known for using their academy. They want to integrate those players into their system. They don't want to just sell them off to. They don't want to be a feeder club like that. And I respect that because I think that I don't think we use our academy enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a position where we're fortunate enough to not have to rely on them, but at the same time, I think striking the balance is very hard when you're trying to win stuff. Like, so I agree with you. I would. Haaland is always going to be Haaland to me. If we could have a full 11 of Haaland, I'd sell Odegaard tomorrow. I wouldn't really care, to be honest, because they're ours. They're one of our own.
Blasphemy, but
no, for real though. That's how I've always been. Like Haaland is always going to be Haaland. Like if you're good, you're playing over any foreigner. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Call me Brexit, call me whatever else. But if you're good enough, I don't care. British jobs for British people.
Oh my god.
No, for real though. Like, I mean, like genuinely, there's it's a contentious point because people are like, yeah, fuck all of that. No, do you want to win or do you want to promote youth? Blah. But it's like you can actually do both. But let's try to strike a good balance. And I think, funny enough, I think we're in a good place now. Like we're in a good place. Like every match day, we've got minimum 2 Haaland products on the bench, basically. Like right now, it's Lewis Skelly and Wanieri kind of thing. But there's space for more. Isaac Heaven. The rest of the there's loads, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not really against more of that at all. But yeah, look, your list is to me, out of everybody there, Luis Campos to me is the obvious choice.
Yeah,
The-
most
the-
people will say that.
it's obviously only because I've been known about this guy for feels like at least 10, 15 years at this point. I don't know, like, so he's the obvious choice kind of thing. My whole thing is here, and I suppose this is probably where we can start thinking about wrapping up. But the relationship with Arteta, it's important because we're having so many varying reports about how Arteta is. Is he a control freak or not? Do you know what I mean? Like,
He's a
how
dictator.
come? Yeah, like, did Edu really leave because of Arteta? Whatever, blah blah blah, kind of thing. And I just feel like while we don't know, and I don't particularly care, the relationship Arteta has with this person is probably the most important thing here. How he receives them, how that person receives him as well. How well can they work together where they feel as if they're both contributing and one's just not dictating to the other one, kind of thing. You know, can they strike a healthy balance? And I feel like Arteta now being experienced enough, kind of thing, kind of gives him a little bit of leverage. But whoever comes in is obviously going to be more experienced than him. Like, I think that's pretty much nailed on, guaranteed. So yeah, I think I do think the relationship with Arteta is probably where I'm most concerned. I don't know if that's if you feel the same way as well.
No, I hear that. I think that's one of the most important things about our next sporting director, because
Mm,
while I don't believe that Edu left because of Arteta, I think that's
mm,
just a stupid
mm,
rumor. I do think that Arteta needs somebody to keep him in check.
mm,
Because Arteta will do stupid stuff like not play like players like who need to be rotated in and out.
mm,
And then he'll just leave them on the bench until they haven't played for months, and
mm.
then we'll like Edo will have to sell them, and you're like,
How do you sell
nobody's
them?
gonna give us a good offer because we know that you want to get rid of them. Like,
Yeah,
it's not like you want to keep them.
yeah,
And I think he needs somebody to tell him no sometimes. Like,
mm,
you need to use what you have, or you
mm,
need to you need to sell what is
mm,
excess, and the list of players are excess right now. Pick who
mm,
you want to get rid of, because they're gonna get rid of some of them.
mm.
Um, I think that it would be good for Arteta to not have a yes man around him. I'll get whatever you need.
Yeah,
I genuinely think he needs somebody to keep him in check, just power balance wise. Because we don't have an Arsene Wenger anymore. Like,
mm,
the Arsene Wengers, the Sir Alex Fergusons, those
mm,
times are gone now. Like, you need somebody who's just not doing everything. And I
yeah,
think Arteta is at his best when he's just a coach. That's it.
mm,
When you are just coaching the team, like, tactically, just worry about that and your player relationships, and that's it. I don't want you to have
yeah,
to think about negotiations with players, or who
yeah,
needs to get sold or bought, or that's something for somebody else to think about.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I feel like streamlining his work definitely helps. But I still do trust his talent ID. So if he sees a player that he likes, the director of football should absolutely at least have a conversation about it, whether they agree or not. Arteta's got, I feel like has got enough credit in the bank where he's just like, he sees a player he likes, the director of football should be like, do you know what? I hear it, kind of thing. Not a no, we've already got this player that we lined up, kind of thing.
No, for
So
sure, for sure.
yeah,
I hear that. I think that while I said I want Giovanni Sartori,
mm,
just because I think that having an Italian sporting director, an Italian
mm,
club that you're like already working with, that would be good for us. I
mm,
think Arteta would work well with Roberto Olubi, like from Real Sociedad.
yeah.
They're both
Obviously,
Spanish.
they have a relationship from years and years back. So there's I can see that
And I've
happening.
actually looked at a little interview that he did recently where he was talking about what he looks for in his players, and
Mm,
like how he recruits and stuff like that. And he sounds a lot like Arteta when he's talking. Um and what like his profile of player of what he looks
mm,
for, and I was like, he sounds like the guy. Like, I just think
mm,
that that's what I think that Arsenal will go do, possibly. I think it'll
mm.
probably be between Campos and Olobi. We'll
Okay,
see who gets the job, but yeah.
okay. Well, guys, this has been the Arsenal gang, talking sport directors and shit. So, Gabby, you know what to tell the people.
Peace.
Take your shirt off. Take your shirt off. Plenty. Whoa.